Peace. 10:20. Let's see who catches it. You know what? I need to probably start sending out some kind of announcement. I haven't really told anybody about these Commander days. So let's see. So I'll wait for a little bit. You know, first days are always different. Peace, 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 brother Chris. Yeah, first days are always different because I do them at different times to give people some time to sleep. I guess during the strong, people are just used to that 6:30 hit. So, peace, hoodoo, occultism. Peace, peace, peace. Greetings. Yeah. Peace, Naya. Upside down smile. I don't know. You frowning? But peace, Roxanne Bowen. Greetings. I think it's the same Roxanne from before. Yeah. Name looks familiar. Everybody's kind of up. All right, good. Dawn Gravely. Greetings to you. Peace, Esme. Peace, YG Gutter. Yeah, I guess y'all are used to the first day hit. Sister Manera, La Cruz, 10. La Cruz. Peace, Darcy. Carter. Yeah. Iris McCabe. Peace to you, too. Yeah. 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 Barbara Cruz. What's happening? Sister Naomi Moore. Peace. Greetings, I should say. I greet y'all how y'all greet me. Yeah, man. Wow. Okay. Sun is coming out. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna be outside because I was starting later, but then it was raining pretty much all dawn and then it stopped maybe maybe an hour ago. But I knew it was just like kind of like gray skies outside, so I was like, I won't do it outside. Now it looks like the sun is starting to. As soon as I start the live, now the sun is coming through the clouds. Yeah. So well, we here now. We here. We here. We here. We here. You know what I mean? You know. Oh, it's a smile with a somersault. Okay, I'd like to see a video of that. Well, you should put that up on your YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Yeah, you should somersault and make sure you keep the smile on your face at the same time. You know what I mean? Let us see it live action. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, I did go out earlier though, but like I said, it was great. And I was like, peace, Deidre, sister Deidre. So I brought it back in. Worked on some music that I'm a little bit behind in. I've been working on a song for a while now that I was commissioned to do something that I can't get the vibe for. Peace, Ia Sequoia. It was something that I worked on a long time ago, and somebody had a copy of it, and I no longer have the ability to recreate it in the exact same way with the exact same instruments. So someone else like advanced me the money for it already. But I told her it's gonna be different because I don't have the same instrumentation, but I have not been able to catch the vibe. Like, so I've been working on it all during it, man. I got like probably 15 revisions of it. They all sound good, but none of them, the spice ain't there. Give thanks, Sister Kashia. I appreciate that. You know that. Yeah, yeah. The spice. I don't know. The feeling is gone. You run into the same problem, huh? Why'd you got it? Yeah, man. Sometimes it's, or sometimes you making a mistake. You know what I mean? It could be that you doing a track and peace, the precious mom. Um, and you make a mistake and the mistake works. Or sometimes it's the environment you're in or who's around you or I don't know. But and what's crazy is that when I actually did that particular piece, I didn't have much. I didn't have much instrumentation, so it was all feel, you know. But yeah, I was playing my what was on an original track. I'm playing the violin. I'm playing sax. I'm playing. This is all live instruments. I'm playing the sax. I'm playing the guitar. I'm playing violin. I'm playing bass. I'm playing drums. And then I had like one little synth, like flute part in there. But I don't know, man. I can't get it. Peace Cordelia. Peace Ricochet. Esme. Peace Natural Nate. I've outgrown the sound. You know what's so funny about that? Okay, so when I did the track, it was kind of it was forward. It was more forward thinking. Like it was a bit more beyond what I usually do as far as the style of the actual sound itself. And I don't know, man. I think I went ahead of myself. I can't catch up. I think I went so far ahead of what I normally do, man. Now, I must have astral traveled in the moment. Now I can't catch up to where I was. Or maybe I'm going backwards. I don't know, man. Peace, Mama Marva. So yeah, that was my struggle this dawn. I'm still struggling, and I don't want to present any of the ones that I did because I don't want to do a whole lot of back and forth. And a lot of times when you're working with certain artists, you got to keep a certain enthusiasm and a certain vibe. You know what I mean? They start getting discouraged. You start presenting a bunch of the wrong stuff, and they'd be like, especially because they're on a timeline because of their label too. So it's like I'm gonna make something happen, man. I'm gonna make something happen, or I'm just gonna have to come with an explanation. Like, listen, this is not. I know this isn't what you heard before, but you know, let's try to work it this way. Let's try to work it that way. So yeah, that's anyway. That's what I was on after I came in trying to get that damn track together. Peace, Baba Utu. So you see the title of the of the video, "Get to Know Me," right? So I figured I'm gonna do something a little not different. It's along the lines. Um, I'm gonna allow you some questions. The very first volunteer, we're gonna get right into it, and you can ask me whatever you want to get to know me. All right, and maybe that will help you on your journey to getting to where you need to get to. All right, so feel free at any moment. Anyone can jump in and ask what they want to ask. Okay, because the concept and the subject that we're dealing with is getting to know me. Get to know me, right? So you need to know who you've been communing with, who you've been talking to, who you've been listening to, you know? So I want to open up the floor for that opportunity. All right? Go. Come with it. Come down. Okay, Chris Magneto asks, Peace, Chief. What caused you to pivot from Arisha to Hebrew? Great question. Okay. Now, now, anybody else? I'm gonna let them stack a little bit. I'm gonna let them stack a little bit. Yeah. That song got my brain fried. uh, I think it's too slow. I think that's part of the issue. I need to bring the BPMs up. I think it's like boring now, and it wasn't boring before. You know. But yeah. Okay. So we only got one question. All right. Nobody else want to know anything? That's cool. Guess y'all like we know you. Think you do, sucker. All right. Cool. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, but I didn't see there was stuff all down here. Okay, I would like to begin studying with you, but I'm on the West Coast. All right, it's not really a question. Still looking for that music video, Chief. Any clues? You don't need to watch that. You're a nice young lady. You don't need to watch that stuff. Peace, Baba Anwar. Have you outgrown Ifa? Hoodoo occultism? Ask. Chris asks again, if a dialogue begins and my response is delayed, I'm on a flight, Chief. That's cool, man. Don't worry about it. You probably messing up all the navigational equipment and everything. You know what I mean? But they'll be all right, man. You know, just always remember that cushion is a flotation device. Roxanne Bowen says, Chief, I started studying with you, but I got scared with some of the things you asked me to do. Yeah, I knew it was you, Roxanne. Yeah, because you used to always sit there quiet. Yeah, I could tell when people start to, yeah. So I would like to know if I can trust you as I have been bitten before. You didn't get bitten by me. So that ain't got a mother effing thing to do with me. Whoever bit you, that was your fault. Because I was giving you things to do and working with you, and you froze up. So you probably went out there and let a gorilla make a monkey out of you. That ain't got nothing to do with me. So if you can trust me or not, that's your decision. I can't do nothing about that. So Cruz says, what are the greatest challenges for yourself in teaching? And that was a long time. You talking years back, Rox. I knew it was you. I remember these names. What are the greatest challenges for yourself in teaching, and what have you found to be the biggest challenges for new students? Okay, cool. So we got a couple questions in there. We got like 3 questions. So we're gonna start rocking it. We're gonna start stacking with those questions we have. Okay, so fooled you. You should have known that whatever I title a video is not really what the video is. Come on, man. Come on. Y'all been around here long enough to know a little bit. Get to know me. Get to know yourself. Let me tell you something. This is what we're gonna be talking about. There's no guru, there's no online teacher, there's no Babalao, there's no Iya Nifa, there's no spiritual guide that can bring you to your individual peace, Ken 171, your individual point of self-actualization. It doesn't work that way. You see, like a lot of times y'all are quick to ask me questions, but I'm gonna tell you, let's see who knew it. Precious said I knew something was up. Some of y'all been listening. Come on, man. They didn't sit here and let you ask me anything. YG was like, that's why there wasn't too many questions that came in. Chris is on a flight though, you know what I mean? So he's probably the air is thin up there, you know what I mean? So we give him a pass. Um, Let me tell you something that you gotta do. You want to command your day. You want to start taking command of things. When you're in a relationship with someone and you want to get to know them, right? What is the thing that you do to get to know them, especially in the beginning? Let's say you on a first date or whatever. You know, you go to the malt shop, you know, to share a malt or something. Peace information. I'm glad it didn't ask anything. Peace Shakira. Oh come on now, I ain't, you know what I mean? Whatever. If you ask, you ask. I'm not, I'm not keeping score. Even though Roxanne's probably like, well, you kept score from years ago. You remember me? I got an elephant memory. That's all. Peace, Michelle Kendrick. You know, a lot of times those first dates, you go to the malt shop. You know what I mean? You go out to wherever y'all go to dinner, whatever. You know what I mean? McDonald's, Arby's. You know what I mean? The Chicken Shack. You know what I mean? Waffles, chicken and waffles, Roscoe's. So whatever you do, you start asking questions, right? Hey, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite fruit? You know what I mean? What do you like to do to have fun? You know what I mean? I don't know. I've been shot before. How many times you've been arrested? You know what I mean? Different things like that. You're trying to get to know the person, right? So, that's the same exact thing you have to do when you're self-actualizing. See, a lot of times people get confused in that, like, they're trying to take charge of themselves. And I've had this with so many clients before where they're like, you start sharing things with them and they're like, I know me, I know myself. And you could tell they don't know themselves because they're so busy looking outside of themselves, asking everybody else questions, but never asking themselves questions. You see, in order to truly know yourself, you have to query yourself. Like literally, sometimes you got to sit and like, okay, this happened or that happened. What was my reaction? What was my thought? What was the feeling that came as a residual for the experience that happened? How do I usually wake up in the morning? What time do I usually go to bed? How do I usually go to the bed? What do I do before I go to bed? These different things, right? Now what happens is eventually you will ask so many questions of yourself where you truly will be a more silent person. There'll be no more questions left. You won't be asking me or anybody else a bunch of stuff that you really don't need to ask. Chief, why did you pivot from Ephod to Orisha or Orisha to Hebraic? Peace, Kenneth Thrasher. Um, who cares? Because truth is, you've been pivoting too. You've been rocking with me. So ask yourself, why did I catch this frequency and get on this train with this brother? Why did I catch the frequency and say, all right, yeah, let's squad up, let's go, let's do it. Ask yourself, because that's what's more important than you asking me. Right? I don't remember the other question. It was something like, have I outgrown EFA? Have you outgrown EFA? All those things that you would have asked me. There was some other ones, still looking for that music video. Well, you keep looking because that one's different. You got to ask yourself. See, that's the key of knowledge of self, man. Or like we say, know thyself, because in knowing thyself, you will. Peace, Cassie Derwin. Because in knowing thyself, you would know God. Ask yourself a couple of questions once in a while. You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that doesn't. That's the main thing that doesn't happen. People don't query themselves, but they'll query this barber. They'll go to this reader. They'll go to this psychic. They go to this. They go to that. Go to that. But never ask themselves anything without realizing this journey is about a journey of knowledge of self. You got to know yourself. So just like the title of the video implies, get to know me. Me. You. I'm going to get to know me. You get to know you. You see what I'm saying? And then the questions were silent. They'll silence after that. You're going to find that you'll be in environments, whether it's a lecture or you'll be in a space like this and someone will be like, hey, all right, any questions? No. And you know why? Because now you're just in the moment. You've answered all of those internal questions. You're just in the moment now, taking on new data, taking on new information. You see, that's what it's about. You know, I should have stretched it out a little longer. And I don't think I think I sprung the trap a little bit too quick. Because I know when I do these sessions like around 20 minutes in, because like in the beginning there'll be like 20 people, and then around like the 20-minute mark it'd be like 70, 80. I should have milked it. You know what I mean? But I don't get you today. I get you tomorrow. I come up with something else. I'm always coming up with pranks. but nah, it's really it's a real thing. It's a real thing. A lot of times, man, we're so attached to what we're struggling for or what we're racing for or striving for outside of ourselves that we don't know how to quiet, what's inside. And the whole idea of releasing yourself from those things that your peace love it. The whole idea is now you didn't miss on first days, which is Sundays. I always do it later because I know that a lot of people sleep in. You know what I mean? So there's no point in really like they're not getting ready. For a lot of people, some people work on but there's no point in me doing it at 6:30 a.m. and you probably like enjoying the one last day before you got to wake up early the next day. So I try to just let people sleep a little bit. Plus you got people on the West Coast. It's still early for them, but at least it ain't like 3 a.m. You know what I mean? Um, so what was I saying? Right. So a lot of times when it comes to that sense of attachment or that spirit or that idea of attachment, we don't realize that it's really just an idea of simplification. And the more that you can simplify your world, inner and outer, then the more honest the peace, me, myself, and I, the more peace that you'll begin to derive inside of your experience. So sometimes, honestly, it's just like getting rid of things. You know what I mean? Like, how many TVs do you need? How many computers do you need? Um, and that's a question to ask myself because I got a lot of tech gear around me. But I need it all though. I need it. So skip to another one. How many clothes do you need? How many shoes do you? I got a lot of clothes. All right, man. Get off me. I'm saying for you, you got to start looking at all the different things that you have and the things that are overcomplicating your life, right? So that's the idea of releasing attachments, man. Sometimes when things are gone, you think about, have I queried myself enough that I don't have all this internal mind chatter? If for some reason I can't access the internet, or um, someone figures out a way at some point to make it too dangerous to go on the internet. As soon as you peace goddess key, as soon as you jump on, there's going to be a virus that shoots into your phone, or shoots into your tablet, shoots into your laptop, or whatever you're working from. So you say, man, we can't even get on the internet anymore. So that means we can't get on social media anymore. Da, 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 da. You go through the list and you look at all the different things that you may find yourself not necessarily addicted to, but you may find yourself attached to, that are really overcomplicating things. You see, and learning to live a minimized kind of existence is a part of, releasing yourself from worldly attachments. So we start that process honestly by self-query. Do I need this? Do I need four vehicles? Do I need four bicycles? They're all a vehicle. Peace. Alo aye, come here. Do I need, I don't know, my old DVD or CD collection, considering I don't even have anything to play it on, right? Um, just go through your list. Go through. Do I need all these flash drives? I'm talking to a couple people on that one. All right. Peace, Mama Shadow Book. Peace, Jamie and Aya. Yeah, man. So that internal querying is where the command begins, right? Because it's important that you kind of go through that process and you respect that process. Guilty. Peace, Gypsy Gray. Yeah, guilty. There you go. I knew I'm gonna catch some of you. Everybody's quiet now because I caught you with the earlier thing. Peace, Baba Logan. So everyone's like, I promise that was the only slip move that I was gonna do. That was it. That was only slip move. You know. And for the new people coming in, they don't really know what happened anyway. But yeah, what's important, like I said, when you start looking at that, is you start simplifying through internal query. You see, peace, Aquia, peace, peace, peace. You know, um, and it's through that internal query, like I said, that you begin to quell the noise. You see, definitely CDs and DVDs, right? Now, I have boxes of CDs and DVDs, and they're part of my emergency preparedness kits. But I also have backed them all up onto hard drives, and I've backed them up into two different cloud spaces, because I don't care what kind of zombie apocalypse. I ain't losing my music. Like, I still got crates of vinyl. I got a lot of crates. I got vinyl. I got CDs. I got two duffel bags of cassette tapes. But I have all that stuff backed up as well. Like I said, in the cloud, and I also have man, I ain't gonna tell you everything I got, man. What I mean? That's how you get infiltrated. But yeah, I got a lot of places where I got a lot of stuff. Let's just put it that way. Peace, Alex. Peace, Alex. Um, I do have some 45s. I definitely do have some 45s. I got some 45s and I got some 78s. You know, talking about vinyl. I'm not talking about weaponry. All right. Um, for younger listeners, 45s were just smaller records. Um, and a record was something we played music on back in the days, and real music now. But so what I'm saying is that you have to start with peace Maxine, um, peace Unkulu Unkulu. You know, um, you have to start with internal query, and that's where the freedom really actually comes in, when you're able to free yourself up from your attachments, and again, not find yourself so beholden to constantly searching for someone who's gonna get you to know yourself, or can really bring you to a place of knowledge self. Even some of you who find issues and you struggle, peace Aliisha, you find yourself struggling to sleep at times, and because at night, well, my mind is racing, and I'm listening to that, and what that comes from is like, I always kind of not make fun of, but I warn people about statements like this, but there's something to pay attention to in it. Like when people say stay woke, Stay woke. Yeah, man, I stay woke. I stay woke. Yeah, that's the problem. That's why you can't sleep at night, because you stay woke. There comes a time when you gotta simplify and shut things down. To be able to kick it with some friends, man, and barbecue up some mushrooms, or just go hiking, man, and eat some granola bars or something, or whatever you do. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe it's getting some wine or something, and chilling on your porch or whatever, and just looking at the squirrels run up and down the trees. You don't have to now create an analysis around you know um, animal medicine. You don't necessarily have to do that. Chris says if you have woken to or something, I don't know. I ain't, I don't be answering too many questions. If you always woke, when do you have time to dream? Yeah, you know. Um, so that's the thing, man. And a lot of times that's what leads to a lot of that chatter. We don't know how to allow things to be because we haven't queried ourselves enough. There's such an urgency to know certain things because we haven't questioned who we are. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we are. We haven't asked those questions, man. And then sometimes we don't know when to create space between ourselves and the spirit world, right? Like sometimes people, will reach out to me and say, "Oh, Chief, man, I keep seeing birds, or dogs keep following me, or I keep seeing 444, 333, 666, 1111, 2222, 4444." And sometimes you don't realize, like, you keep seeing it. Yes, the spirit world is trying to get your attention, but sometimes it also means that you're a bit too close to the spirit world. You need to create some space, because look at, don't always think because something comes from the spirit world that it's benevolent. Um there's the law of correspondence that exists everywhere, and you can fall into some low vibrational spiritual energy. Peace, Ia, and Dream. Those 45 still around. Well, mine are. I don't know if they probably still suck, because sometimes people do like novelty projects where they release stuff on vinyl, but um I'm sure somebody somewhere, probably in the UK, has put something out for it. But yeah, I got a lot of 45. I got a lot of Rick James on 45, the staple singers on 45, Stevie Wonder on 45, Larry Graham on 45. I'm just going through them. I got a lot of 45s. Larry Graham on 45s, LTD on 45s, um, Confunction on 45s. Um, Dang, man, I got a lot of 45. I could just go through it. Like I got a lot of 45s. I got those packed separately. Um, oh, Mtume, I don't wore that 45 out. Juicy Fruit, I got, yeah, man, I got a lot of music. But you know, um, and I got a lot of vinyl, and I got a lot of vinyl that people have never heard. I got vinyl that is so. Let me shut up. That's how you get robbed. Anyway, so like I was saying, um, like I was saying, there's an internal noise that comes through the lack of query, and there is a constant kind of searching and restlessness that comes from staying woke. And sometimes things are just what they are. You know, there's times I do segments like this. Peace, Nikki Love, and people are like, Chief, I saw you had this on. What does that mean? It means I had a shirt on. Like, stop. If I'm projecting something, which sometimes I am, I wear certain colors, certain designs. It's for you to just soak it in. It's not, I'm not gonna sit here and, yeah, and this is why this is like that. And you see this, you see this patch right here, right here, where it's missing. What, I was picking my hair like this because I do that when I'm restless. Why was I restless? Well, let's break it down. Yeah, no, man. Like, you don't want to know why people do podcasts. Don't want you looking at them. Or why I used to just do graphics and just talk underneath the graphics. Then people would talk about my voice. Yeah, I know you got a voice like this. Can it just be what it is sometimes? Sometimes it is what it is. And I'm not saying, like, I had somebody say something dumb to me years ago. She was like, you overthink. It's like, nah, like you're just dumb. It's not that I'm overthinking. It's just you don't think at all. But like I said, that concept of staying woke, you have to know when to rest. There's an ebb and flow to everything, and a lot of times when you're consistently staying woke, what happens is when you sleep, not rest. When you sleep, of course, not only are you analyzing constantly, but you're bringing in lower energy. Remember, your thought energy, or your thought connection to the material space, is your satanic energy. And I'm not, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. When we talk about satanic energy, we're just talking about material energy. We're just talking about flesh energy. That's all we're talking about. Now, but and thought, but thought is the brain, is flesh. Thought and consciousness are different, just like the brain and the mind are different. You kind of look at it like one is an octave over the other, right? So you have your flesh brain, and your flesh brain has a pitch or a note that's an octave up. Now that octave up note would be the mind, right? And then from there you have what's even called the superconscious, but it gets kind of goofy once you get up past the conscious, because it becomes very individual at that point. But it's just like you have ether and you have wind. So wind is like physical manifestation. And what would it be if we were to, peace Eddie Moon, if we had some spiritual steroids and we could pump it up an octave, then that would be your ether. Okay. Similar to your spirit, right? You have breath, and then you got wind. It's not the same thing, right? So a lot of times we stay in a lower octave, because what happens is that we're constantly woke, if you will. We're constantly trying to satiate all of the different noise. And satiate means to satisfy, where also the word Saturn or Satan or Set. So it's just nothing. Nothing is hardly ever satisfied. You can't eat one potato chip. You know what I mean? It just the flesh, and the mind, or the brain, excuse me, just doesn't work that way. And a lot of times that search for satisfaction, that keeps us in those lower octaves. It keeps us from ever understanding the pitch up, or the octave up, would be fulfillment, right? So you have like, again, there's these correspondence and these laws that exist in everything. So where you have at a lower octave, you have satisfaction. At a higher octave, you have fulfillment. So peace, Sister Moksha. So at that lower octave of satisfaction, there's busy work. You're just staying busy. You're asking me a bunch. Oh, could you satisfy my question? Could you satisfy my question? Could you satisfy my question? Right? But when you kick it up an octave, it's, let me go within. Let me ask myself the same thing. And now what happens is, when you start rendering or surrendering yourself to your own moment, that's when, peace Quindy, peace brother Quindy, that's when fulfillment comes in. You see, now fulfillment is, that's when you actually know you're living in purpose in that moment. Purpose is in the moment. It's not some, I know we always say, like, one day I'm gonna achieve my do it now. Do it like right now. You know what I mean? And come on, brother, blood. Like, I don't even know how you got in here. First of all, always got these little, like. I know sometimes they be fairies. That's why I don't always want to just like knock them out like that, because they're not always mosquitoes. Sometimes they're fairies. But I was I was teaching a webinar the other night, man, and a fairy took like 3 bites out of my left foot. I'm like, dag, was this a spider or tarantula bite something? But anyway, so let's get back on it. And when you create those orbits, that gravitational pull, when you start building, stuff starts to come in. As you create your own orbit. Like the Blob in X-Men. But so again, it's that concept that you have, like lower order, high order. So lower order asks me everything about me. Now, if you're asking me because you're trying to vet me to see if I'm what I say I am, that's a different thing. But just so also know that if you're listening to me, you're like, man, this brother, he's like at the frequency where I'd like to be or where I'm striving to be, whatever it is, and I'm able to speak with a certain level of profundity and mental dexterity, then you got to kind of know that I probably can answer your questions however I want to in a way to satisfy you. I probably already know how to do that, right? So when you're in purpose, you'll be able to see that octave contrast between being satisfied and being purpose filled. You see, purpose filled, which will be fulfilled, right? And you got to get used to those octaves because it's like that having that contrast is the beginning of being able to move through these different realms and these different dimensions. A lot of times we have trouble astral traveling, excuse me, or we have trouble going through different dimensions because we are we woke. We just always woke. I'm always woke. And see that's why like in certain traditions, you know, yeah, I got company. Yeah, well, they ain't paying nothing up in here, so and I don't like uninvited guests. Um, but it's cool, as long as you don't bite nothing, you cool, you know. Um, Maybe you want a little nibble out of some fruit or something. I'm cool with that. No biggie. We got to share the space because we be building these homes and plopping them down on top of somebody else's home, and they get mad when they still kind of there. That's not fair. Peace, Jasmine. Wow, look at that. I was just thinking about you just doing it, and here you go. You pop right up. It's the mind. It's not gonna brought you in with my mind. But like I was saying, you have a lot of times we stay in the lower octaves, and sometimes we we're we may be a part of a particular tradition that gives us different ways to raise the octave. We call it raising the vibration. I mean, whatever you want to call it, like raising your frequency, raising your octave, raising your vibration. Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it's because it's ultimately it's the same kind of mechanics and it's the same kind of symptom of employing those mechanics. But what you're essentially doing is that, in certain traditions, they'll say, okay, what was that thing? I said it once on here, but I don't remember it. Now, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I think that was it, right? Um, you can tell I didn't come from a praying house, so I didn't come from a praying house full of prayer warriors. We didn't do that. But Nightmare on Elm Street. One, two, Freddy's coming for you. You start to get you remember these things. But so what happens is that when you when you are doing that before you are no longer woke, because like I stay woke, right? So what happens if you have a routine where you could cleanse yourself from the lower energy of the day, when you now go to rest, you actually now experience a contrast of octave, right? So that's what the prayers and stuff. It's not because you might die in the middle of the night, like, but again, a lot of times when things are taught, the Moors shared certain ways to do things when they ran up through Europe, and then people kind of, yeah, that might be a ferry, because it's just like staying close. I'm looking like right at it. It just landed like right here. Yeah, that could be a ferry. Um, so people like retranslate things like grace. Oh, pray before you eat and thank God. It's not even in the Bible. It's not even scriptural, you know. So it's the same thing with, go on the side of your bed at night and pray like this. And no, what you're doing before you go into rest, you're raising your vibration or raising your octave or raising your frequency. So that way when you go to sleep, it's like when we're casting divination and Eurobicism, we say Akimaran, 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 which I'm basically saying those forces in Orun or heaven or the unseen forces make sure that nothing creeps in to this moment. Nothing creeps into this session. I came around, I came around, I came around, right? It's the same thing when you're praying before you go to bed at night, right? You're, you know, whether it's I lay me down or whatever. I don't know the adult version, you know what I mean? But whatever it is, what you're saying is that as I get ready to astral travel, as I get ready to go into this space, all day I've been rocking my lower octave, and I want to release some of the grime of that lower octave, and I want to go into the higher octave. You see, so that way now I'm having a benevolent, restful astral experience as I lay myself down to sleep, right? Because sometimes we don't realize the amount of grime and sticky stuff that we pick up throughout our waking day. And some people don't do any kind of it could be, it doesn't have to be prayer, it can be meditation, spiritual bath, which can be meditative, it could be affirmations, but things that you want to raise up before you get down. You know, you want to get up before you get down, if you will. And like I said, sometimes it's a difficult concept for people to understand because we're just kind of always told we gotta stay moving, and we're forever stimulated, you know, especially now with like all the social media and different stimulations from that you get from that. It's like you never get a moment to get to yourself. You see, so sometimes you fall asleep like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed, but I'm gonna turn on a show or something I like. I'm gonna watch, you know, some TV or whatever, and I'm gonna go to bed that way. So now what happens is that, remember, just because it's a spirit being doesn't mean that it's benevolent. You see what I'm saying? So what happens now? You got these lower order Setian, satanic, thought based. And remember, when I'm saying satanic, I don't mean something in like a red suit with a cigar, like, you know, trying to burn you up. That's that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying things that are thought based, right? But they're lower octave energies, right? So, um, you know what? Matter of fact, to those of you who may be confused on the octave piece, I'm gonna just do something real quick, right? So I'm still here, kicking my stool to the back to the side. All right, so y'all can hear me. I know you can. So let's just say all day you're swimming around here. All right. Now I can't see my screen, so I don't. I'm saying all right, but I don't know if you can. But I know you can hear me. So let's just say this is your world. See right there. That's where you're living. That's the octave. Now one octave up would be right here. Lower octave, higher octave. See that? So when you're going to pray at night or whatever, what you're attempting to do is to bring this octave, this low octave, or you're meditating as high as you possibly can. So it might go from here. Willfully, when you go on to bed at night, you're up here somewhere. But remember, your whole day you were here. That's where you at. I go to pray, I want to be up here. See? All right, so that's what octave is. You're on the same note, but you're going higher or you're going lower. Okay, so for anyone who's confused about the octave thing, right? I didn't get any of the I couldn't see the screen while I was doing that, but hopefully you got that example. So that's what I mean about raising your octave. So we have experiences that we go through throughout the day that will keep us in that lower octave, which is okay because we're a lot of times during the day we're dealing with a lot of thought energy, which is again it's the Setian energy. We're taking care of our okay, good. Y'all heard it, good. Music message. All right, cool. I see music notes, so you got it. I ain't showing off, Jasmine. Not on a untuned piano. That's actually something to be embarrassed because I know somebody in it who probably plays like that didn't sound right. Them notes wasn't hitting right. Yeah, because my piano was severely untuned, out of tune. Um, so what I was saying is that now you have that energy where you're cleansing, and like I said, it could be your baths you do, it could be your meditation. For some, it may be reading certain things that kind of put you in a better space, so that way now you're experiencing contrast, you know. And like I was saying, is that just because something wants to attach to you from the spiritual world doesn't mean that it means you good. Like you have thugs on earth, you got thugs in the unseen. You know what I mean? You got robbers and people who will burglarize you and commit larceny. In the spirit world, you have people who commit larceny and arsonists and rape, in spirit as well as the earth world. And sometimes some of those energies they try to get um your attention, because it's because of how we vibe, and it's really important because like, if you're not a person like me who doesn't really sleep, but let's just say, I guess that you probably go to sleep what around between 9 p.m. and maybe midnight, something like that. I think that's normal people. Somewhere around there you start to lay down. Um, a lot of times you have during those times what we call the witching hour, right? And the witching hour, to be clear, because I've had people ask me about that, like I keep waking up at this particular time, and I looked it up on Google. I Googled it, and it told me that it's the witching hour, and then they're concerned, like something is trying to harm them, if you will. Something is trying to do harm by them. But the thing to understand about that is, again, is contrast. So there are certain frequencies that are higher or more prevalent, certain octaves. You heard what I just did. Doom, 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 doom. Right? Same note. So that means there's a correspondence. If I'm hitting C or I'm hitting D, I have low D, mid D, high D, whatever. It's just different octaves, right? And different ones are more prevalent depending on the time of day that you're moving through, right? So there's a certain hour where this kind of takes me back to Brother Lowe's breakdowns of Underworld. But there's a certain time of the evening where there's like a cross through. There's a crossover, right? So just like you have octaves, there's 8 notes between the octaves. Now when you get to the seventh note, you about to hit the next octave, right? So you can look at those witching hours or those in between times that you find yourself waking up a lot. Those are those are the lines between you know the different range of notes. I should have did that. Maybe next time I'll do it so you can get a audible example of that. Because I ain't gonna draw it. I ain't gonna do all that. I don't draw very well. So what I'm saying is that based upon that, there's certain times of night where the veil between dimensions is very thin. There's a crossover time, and the reason why I said it reminds me of Brother Lowe's breakdown of Underworld is because he was talking about the character Michael in Underworld, the hybrid who is part vampire and part wolf. Well, or lichen, part lichen and part vampire. That's us. We are hybrids. We're hybrid individuals. We're part vampire. We're part wolf. How do we know that? Because we're part spirit, and then we're part beast. We're part animal, right? So there's a time at night where different ones rule. At certain times of the day, the beast rules, and at other times of the day, the spirit rules. You see, so peace, brother Vermont, peace. So based upon that, sometimes um, you might be sleeping through it, or you might be awake through it, and then you can feel the shift of authority that comes, right? Like I've had people sometimes, like you talk about the satanic energy. 666. Yo, man, I went to the supermarket and my change came back and it was $6.66, and I bought something else. So I'm like, don't give me that. I don't want no 666. Yeah? You know. But the thing is like you're already 666. Like it tells you in the book, 666. The mark of the beast, the number of man. That's you. You the beast. But see what's being recognized there. Like if you see that number a lot, sometimes it can mean that that part of you is trying to pull on you more than anything else. You know, everything has 666 associated with it. 666, six is carbon, it's melanin, it's carbon. Peace, Rosalind. Good day to you too. So you know, your speaker, your piano is a beast. You know what I mean? Your chair is a beast. The stool I'm sitting on is a beast. The curtain behind me is a beast. You know what I mean? It's all a beast because if it's manifested inside of this environment, then there's some carbon there. You know, if it's been able to form itself into shape and through color and whatnot, the beast is already present. So sometimes you'll see like certain numbers and things like that. And um, what noise drowns out my voice? I guess you're talking about from a spiritual perspective. The noise drowns your voice out. I'm not sure what noise you're talking about, but like I was saying, so um, the beast is always present. Yeah, six protons, six neutrons, six electrons, right? So there's so many places that we can associate the six that it's not even like it's not a mystery, you know, at this point, right? Oh, you heard just fine. Okay, all right, cool. She may be speaking. I guess the cruise is speaking metaphorically, maybe, you know, about the mind or something. But so what I'm saying from that perspective, right? Sometimes the beast in you is trying to get your attention, right? Now, the beast is okay. Like when it says 666, Spirit Driven says, whenever I see 666 is off, and I'm usually focusing too much on material things like bills or money. It could be that because you think about it, like this is the parable of like Christ coming into town riding a donkey or riding a jackass, right? And you know, what that means is that spirit or the higher self needs a vehicle of travel, right? So when you say something is a beast, not only is it speaking about the state, I mean, that's a whole nother thing I'll get into another time, but it's speaking about the fact that we're hybrid. So just like a vampire needs blood to travel, peace, Machiavelli, to travel into the land of the living, us as spirit beings, we need a vehicle to travel, right? So typically that vehicle is going to be a beast, it's going to be a horse, it's going to be an ox, it's going to be a donkey, however, or jackass, however that you conceptualize it. But the beast is the beast of travel. It's the beast that allows us to function in the material world. So when it says 666, the number of man, the mark of the mark, yeah, I'm sorry, the mark of the beast, the number of man, yeah, that makes perfect sense because I need a beast to get through this world. I need something to ride. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes you'll get messages like that, and like, you know, Spirit Driven said, hey, I'm focused too much on bills and money because sometimes you, your attention needs to be pulled to the material world or to the beast or to your body. Maybe you're neglecting your body, or maybe your focus is too much in that space. You know, but either way of the way your signs and symbols come to you because you are a hybrid. You are Michael from Underworld. You are the half vampire, half lichen. You have the warmness and the humanity and the emotions of a of a lichen, but then you also have the indifferent, flight-based, otherworldly nature of the vampire. That's you as a deity living a human experience. So that's why the questions are important because when you're querying yourself, it's the lichen asking the vampire inside of you questions. You see, and meanwhile the vampire is like, yeah, while it's eating the food and stuff and it's enjoying the human experience, or the spirit in you is enjoying that human experience. But there's always got to be a recognition that that beast is ever present. Now, these are just some of your basic modalities to self-actualization, you know. And again, I know some people came in a little later, so they didn't catch what I did in the beginning. But when this is done, if you didn't catch the beginning, you should go back to the beginning and get a sense, you know, a deeper sense of what it is that I'm saying here. um, or another sense, we could say, of what I'm saying. Um, but yeah, there are octaves. So the lower octaves, like I just showed you, that's going to be the Setian based octaves. Satisfaction, thinking, um, chasing money, things like that, or chasing riches without establishing conduits of wealth, and then there's a sense of fulfillment. So sometimes that question comes forth sometimes, like, what is my purpose, or how do I know when I'm, living my purpose? Now, yeah, you can do divination, but purpose brings fulfillment. Busy work brings satisfaction. You can do a bunch of junk. You can move junk from one room to the other side of the room, or sweep it on the carpet, and you'll feel satisfied that the place looks better. But you'll feel more fulfilled when you actually allow yourself to purge. Let me actually look at all these letters I received that I was scared to open up, or let me actually go into the closet and try on some of these coats and see if they still fit, or if I even want to look like this anymore, and things like that. And then when you're able to do that, you'll feel more fulfilled. And you find that a lot of times when you get into activities like that, you get lost in the activity. See, when you look at a person who's been called to teach, they got to stop themselves a lot of times from teaching. I've taught 6-hour classes easily without batting an eye. Because when you're in your purpose, what tends to happen is you get sometimes lost and taken away. It's the thing that takes you away. Like Calgon, take me away. So whether it's for you, it could be pottery, it could be carving, it could be decorating. You know what I mean? It could be painting, it could be singing, it could be music, whatever it is. It's gonna be the thing that takes you away. And you, you get so lost in it because there's such a feeling of fulfillment that comes from it, and that could be learning. You might be so caught in learning. You might be reading a book or cross-checking and going through a concordance and a dictionary and that, and you start at 7 o'clock at night, and before you know it, you're hearing birds chirping outside. It's 5 a.m. and you've been learning this whole time because you rendered yourself and allowed yourself to be so vulnerable to the moment. And for all of us, we all have a particular thing that brings that out in us, that quiets the beast, the savage beast within, that calms the beast and allows the spirit to come forward. And you might have multiple things, right? It might not just be one thing. It could be martial arts. It could be, running. I got a friend like that who runs for as long as he wants to run. To me, it's insane. But I tried to run with him once and I couldn't get past the warm up. you know uh, he does a couple of miles to warm up just to get the body nice and loose, and then he just takes off and he literally runs through towns. He's done that so many times. Like, where were you? Like, yo, I just, once I get my breath, I just keep going, and I ended up over in this town. Or he's ran through barrels before. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, man, I ain't built for all that. After that first, 3 miles, I'm all right. I'm good now. I'm ready to go do something else with my day. You know what I mean? But he loses himself in that because that's his thing. Now, of course, as yeah, he's like a Forrest Gump. Obviously, it's a joke I usually say to him. Um, but everybody has their thing that they'll find such deep purpose in that they get lost and taken away by it, and it's something that happens in the moment, right? So everybody has it today. You have it right now in this moment. You don't have to. Wow, that's funny, Dawn Graves. That's the same junk he says. It's a great way to see a new town. He tried that same line on me that you just did. Yo, you come with me. I'm telling you, man, I've been meeting a lot. Nah, man. He tried the same line. I told you I got a little bit, but man, I was like, nah, bro, I'll be here on this bench, man. When you circle back around, you know. But yeah, that's what he says. He just kind of clears his mind, and he kind of just it's a beautiful thing. I'm with you, man. That's cool. Everybody has their thing, like I said. You know, um, but we all have those moments to get taken away, and you have that right now. I'm telling you, you have it right now. You don't have to get a reading from a guru or someone like me to figure out how to go do that. You have it in you right now to go do it. You can get taken away, and of course there are things that will take us away temporarily sometimes, that we get confused. But again, satisfaction versus fulfilled, right? So I know some, because I know where we're at a lot of times. Sometimes it's physical intimacy for some people. When I'm in that, I take it there, right? But are you being satisfied, or are you finding fulfillment in the moment? Most of the time, because you're dealing with flesh sensation, depending on the nature of the relationship that you have with the person that you're with, it's usually satisfaction. It's not usually fulfillment, depending on the nature of the relationship. So I'm not going to brush that with a broad stroke, if you will, because it, no pun intended, but there's other finer details to that kind of situation, right? But there are people who find their bliss in the moment, and these are some of the people that we look at as like great heroes of spirituality, and that's what they've been able to discover. That's what they've been able to come to and to own. That they can start bending and reshaping things right now based on their willingness and their ability to be absorbed and absorb within them the moment. You know, and not always looking for this time when spirit will reveal to me my purpose. Nah, nah. Ask yourself. Don't ask the Baba. Don't ask the pastor. Don't ask the imam. Don't ask the iya. Don't ask the madrino. Don't ask the padrino. Don't no, none of that. You know, um, creativity is not your vehicle, Esme. I saw a little bit of that, what you just said. Creativity is not your vehicle. Doesn't matter when I'm creating, I'm going. Creativity is not the vehicle. Creativity uses a vehicle, because if you didn't have the ability to physically create, could you still create? Heck yeah. Because whatever it is that you're creating, you've already created in your head already. So creativity isn't the vehicle. Whatever you're using to express the creativity, that's the vehicle. Whether it's singing, paint, I don't know what you do, Esme, you know, but the the creativity, you got that. That's yours. You got that. You don't need a beast. You don't need carbon in order to express that. Creativity channels itself through a beast, and once it does that, it becomes um singularity, because now it's lost its creative potential. If I have all these different ideas of how I want to build a home, and then I decide I'm going to build the home with Adobe clay, well, now my creative potential has been limited because I've picked a particular medium to express it through. So you already got that. You got that. You already got the creativity. Creativity is yours. Peace, Bissy. Peace to you as well. Yeah. So, like I said, these are basic steps to self-actualization, and it's a process. And when I say basic, I don't mean like, oh, in 5 minutes you will be self-actualized. It's not that. It's just that these are the kind of the mind states that we want to start to instill inside of us. When it comes to self-actualization, self-query, understanding like when my octave is low versus when my octave is high. Sometimes it needs to be low, right? Sometimes it needs to be high. Like, you don't want to be woke all the time. You know what I mean? And you don't want to be sleep all the time. And understanding the side effects of that. Side effects of constantly being woke. I'm constantly analyzing. I can't enjoy life. You know what I mean? Like, can you just go see a comedy movie and not dissect it? Can you just go look at the animals play or the children play and not break down what Orisha representation those children are? What I mean? Like, can you do that and just enjoy children playing and laughter and just be cool? You know, that's your ability to enjoy the different contrasts of octave. You see, and believe it or not, the constant analysis for those who came late is lower vibrational, but we have to use it sometimes. You know what I mean? But when whether it's like Brother Low breaking down a movie, or you see me break down movies and shows and events and like that, all of that's actually low vibrational. But you go through the low vibrations to build up to the higher vibrations. But before you rest at night, there should be a moment of scrubbing away, you know. And like I said, sometimes that's prayer, sometimes it's meditation, sometimes it's a bath, but you got to get that stuff off of you, man, because there's so much that we're 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 bombarded with to keep us from ever asking questions. That's the whole point, so that you won't ask yourself a question. That's why you're constant. We live in a very hyper stimulated environment. That's the reason for that. You know what I mean? It's done purposely. There are people who figure out, like I said, how to keep you scrolling. You know how to keep those that dopamine going. You know, you just something new, something new pop up, something new pop up, something new pop up, something new pop up. And it's based upon what you talk about, what you search for. So if I'm online all day searching for how to tune my piano, right? Then if I'm on a social media platform and I'm gonna see all these ads and I'm gonna see all these people playing the piano or tuning their own piano. Now, and all of that's keeping me from sitting down and throwing the phone or the tablet, whatever, to the side and asking myself some questions. You know, let me really let me see where I'm at. You know, like what makes me do that? Or like I said, the questions that were asked to me. What made you pivot from this? What made me pivot from it? Have I outgrown EFI? You know, like you redirect those questions back to you, and that now starts to allow you to see the difference between those questions, and answering of them honestly will begin to give you a level of fulfillment. And then you'll start to be able to see the difference between when those are coming and when you're being satisfied by a social media timeline. You know what I mean? Or something that's just like distracting. And then you, oh, that's what it is. So you'll know which when each one is enacting and what it really brings into your life. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna answer some of the questions a little bit just because why not? I never pivoted from Orisha to Hebraic um, systems. I've always studied Hebraic systems. I actually, technically, I studied that before Orisha. It's just that I always understood the correlations that people are not ready to get yet. So um, there's a time for certain things. There's a time when you have to you open up certain scrolls. You got to time it. It doesn't mean that you didn't have the scrolls the whole time. You see, so you may hear me, peace, C0LOD33. You know, so it doesn't mean that, like, you know you open up a new book and say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna start teaching that. Sometimes you do, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes a leader, and I'm not a leader, so so when I give that example, I want you to understand I'm talking about somebody else. Sometimes a leader will have a certain following, and then they'll come into new information and recognize this is where I need to go, or whatever. Good question, Roxanne. There we go. There we go. Don't ask if you could trust me. There you go. Can you trust yourself? Great question. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. um, but yeah, a lot of times what happens is that there's just a timing for things, man. That's all. There's more to come. Like when you're given a vision, like I taught before, that the vision is a promise. So when that promise is given, there's steps to the unfurling of it. Like it's like the opening of the seven seals. There comes a time when different seals, different chambers are opened up, but there's somebody who was a custodian to those chambers and those seals the whole time. So we could go back to 2010 when I think it was 2010 when I did the first Orisha series, and like boom, 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 boom. Here's Oya, here's Oshun, here's Obatala, here's Ogun, here's Ochosi, here's Babalu Aye. And I'm teaching that. I knew the stuff that I'm giving you now 10 years ago. The new stuff that I learned, I don't teach that stuff because that would be irresponsible. You know what I mean? It's got to be tried and proven. So 99% of the stuff that you hear me teach about, I've probably known and put into practice a minimal for about 15 years, 10 to 15 years. That's usually my number, right? So, um, it's not a pivot, but it's a it's a timing thing. Now, like I said, teaching the Orisha stuff wasn't a mistake in the beginning, but the depth that I did teach it, I regret because people were not ready for that. You know, and that was me not being in tune with the people. People need morality and values and integrity. That's what they need. You know, learning how to do more magic spells and whatnot is not going to make you a better mother or a better father or a better son or cousin or nephew. Some people are just rotten a-holes, you know, and that really needs to be addressed first, right? But um, I had a different kind of perspective on folk in the community, even though I didn't always. I've had some interactions with not so great people in the community. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying I didn't know they didn't exist, but yeah, I guess like I said, sometimes you get lost in your purpose. You know, you start teaching and you're like, I'm just gonna give them this, and next thing you know is an hour and a half later, and you're like, you know, but not to say I don't normally do that because I'm usually pretty measured in what I give. But like I said, my perspective, I had to get to know the people a little bit more. And once I started to see how gullible a lot of the people were who I was teaching, I said, all right, so we got to rewind a little bit. Because I started teaching a lot of those things because I wanted you to be able to distinguish between weak Orisha information and the real stuff. So I started giving you a lot of the real stuff and not even the deepest stuff because I didn't do that. But even the lighter stuff I give is, and I don't mean to sound arrogant, please don't take it that way, but peace say, even the little stuff I give a lot of times is maybe a bit more involved or more intense than a lot of the stuff that's like people teach on the internet or whatever. So, but my intention was, let me just let you be able to see light from darkness because there's a lot of people out here who are giving you garbage and charging you for it, and that's foul. And I was getting so tired of that. So I said, okay, I'm gonna release this book, grasping the root of divine power. Here it is for yourself. Do your own offerings, do your own readings, right? There's something you can do. Now I'm not breaking. Oh, give thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, thank you. First super chat and so far the last super chat. You are the first and the last. But so that was the thing, like man, trying to get people to see like because like I said, I don't talk about my people in public. So how do I get around not saying that one is fake, that one's phony, that one ain't even initiated, this one's a sucker? Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to do that. So how do I get around that? Okay, well, I'll just give you the good stuff, and then willfully you can make a decision for yourself now that you've gotten the clean glass of water because you've been drinking, water with fried up, I don't know, Crisco in it all this time. It's been garbage. This whole stuff you've been soaking up. Let me give you some of the good stuff, and then now you can maybe see the contrast. And then some people saw the contrast, and a lot of people, because they were so lost in idolatry of certain people because of non-query, of non-self query, they were stuck in idolatry, still didn't see it. So that's when I say, yeah, I got to start focusing more on internal values a little. Let's talk about that now. And that's still doing that without saying this one's a scam artist. This one, cheats on his wife. This chick right here, she chases away all of her students' boyfriends because she's lonely and she's chronically single and she don't want you to have a man. Like, instead of me pointing that out and calling people out and stuff, okay, let's start teaching about honor. Let's start teaching about character and this and that. So it's just a process. So you may hear me speak about Hebraic law a lot because I'm talking to a lawless people. Many have not been able to extract laws out of Ifa, and truthfully, for many of us in the West here, the laws are not applicable to us because we're not Nigerians. You know what I mean? So there's a different experience and a different prophecy. And thank you, Alex. Yeah, I have grown, man. Every day. I better. Shoot, man, all the stuff I be doing, all the stuff I do, and all these tinctures I'm drinking all the time and all this meditation. It better be some growth, you know. Um, if you grow, you're gonna change, and I'm changing. Yeah, I'm changing every single day, believe it or not. But you got to be responsible through your changes too, and you don't necessarily. I mean, I don't think you should drag people through your changes because sometimes you're going through valleys and peaks, and I'll try to get you to the peak, but I might have to go through the valley. But sometimes I'll tie a rope, and then I'll walk down through the valley, and then I'll on the other side of the valley when I get to the next peak, I'll tie another rope, and now I'll build a bridge. So I'll say, listen, you ain't even got to go down in that valley. You ain't got to go down to the valley of dry bones with all the skeletons and the zombies. You ain't got to do none of that. Just walk straight across. All right. And then there's people like Roxanne said, yeah, I got scared. Yeah, you look that. Don't look down. Look at me. You look down. You know what? I'm just gonna climb down. I'm gonna go the hard way. All right, I'm gonna go the hard way. You know. So that's what it is. 2014, I was a beast. I tell you, Alex, I'm a bigger beast now. Believe it or not, I'm even better now. But shoot, you should have seen me in You think 2014 I was a beast? You should have seen me in 1994. You want to see a beast? You should have seen me in '94. Oh goodness, that was a total. That dude was. Oh, that dude was crazy. That dude was crazy on so many different levels, militaristically, spiritually, culturally, politically, but you got to learn how to deliver things. And like I said, when you're doing this work, only 20% of it is the actual content and truthfulness of the message or the divination. 80% of it is the psychology. How do you say this in a way that it will be received and applied? That's the hardest part. The answers are easy. That's not difficult. You know what I mean? But how do you deliver it? And that takes compassion. I got to feel for people who I'm speaking to. I got to extend my heart, and then love is transmitting and transmuting my consciousness into yours. That's what love is. When I decide, you might be telling me a story or putting something in the chat, and for 10 seconds I got to try to be you. I got to take, and it's not, you could do it if you know how to astral project, but I have to astral project my consciousness inside of yours. And then I feel it. Oh, okay. Then you give the answer. Now I know how you're going to receive it or how you need to hear it right now, even if you're not going to receive it today. That's what love is. You know what I mean? That's what love is. But we're talking about, again, like I said, steps that you begin on self-actualization. So, but that's the answer to that, man. It was no pivot. It's no pivot. You know, um, I'm just trying to walk y'all across this bridge. And some are like, all right, I got you. Let's go. Some are driving a Hummer across a rope bridge. They're trusting that much. And some are still looking down and stuck and paralyzed and frozen. Ain't really much I could do about that because I'm not walking back over. I already did it. I'm not going back. You know what I mean? So either come on or, stay stuck on that bridge. Hopefully they don't start shooting arrows at you. Or some of you decide to walk down. You walk down. Yeah, love for you, Alex, was restriction because, and you and I know, there was a lot of things that you had to stop doing. Your situation. Kid Glide, I was never part of a breaking crew, not a real crew. So I guess you're talking about when I saw your name and I was like, that's a b-boy name. I'm just, it's just an era thing. Like, I was in the we'll just, I don't want to say the streets. We'll just say the trench. I was in the culture at that time. So, a lot of my friends were b-boys and um, you know, I don't know how old you are, Kid Glide, but back in the days, a b-boy wasn't just somebody who you probably know this, but I'm just gonna say everybody listen. A b-boy wasn't just somebody who did graffiti or DJ or breakdancing. Like that was another term at a very for a short time, and I'm glad it that faded for a short time. Like if you was in the street, if you were a hood, like a hood or a thug, like b-boys were considered to be like hoodlums almost. You know what I mean? Like it was hard to get girls if you were a b-boy back then. She'd be like, you a b-boy, you know, like you a hoodlum. And I'm glad that got cleaned up quick, you know what I mean? So just because of the environments that I was in, a lot of times I was surrounded by the culture. I did used to break, you know, and I did used to rap, you know what I mean, but not at the level that I'm sure that you do, I'm sure, you know what I'm saying. um so yeah, that's how I knew. Like when I saw your name, Kid Glide, I just know the name. You know, you see a certain name or somebody got a ski on the back of their name. You know, like okay, this is somebody who was in the culture. You know what I mean? Um, their name is Jay Ski or Ron Ski or something like. You know, okay. So that's how I figured it out. Yeah, man. But so yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. So hopefully, willfully, for this first day, you got something that you can use. You know, I didn't look through all the chat. You know what I mean? Let me see. You know, I don't always go through the chat. I usually wait to the next day, which that kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense because sometimes I know y'all like y'all have questions. I couldn't come up with the word, and I just see them the next day. You know, so some of this I probably don't even know what you're talking about. I do that running. It's meditative junk, sir. Yeah, junk, Dawn Gravely. Try to catch me with that junk. Yeah, run through 5 towns with me and get to meet people. I don't even like to meet people, so that's not the way to entice me. I don't even be liking to talk to people. In the evening, when the creatures start chirping, I can sometimes feel a shift in vibrations. Yeah, because when they're chirping, sound creates objects. Sound establishes the changing of the day, or the changing of the guard, if you will. So that's why you kind of feel that. She said that's crazy. I felt the difference in the octaves as you went from low to high. Good. Folks, anxiety builds up without that moment of self and plunging into the outside world, a world that is lower vibrating. Yeah, that's a very good way to put that, Kashia. That's a very good way to put that. You know, Sequoia, Sequoia says, you are the self actualized savior. Savior, right? Exactly. Exactly. You are you gotta, I mean, we have a messianic energy, and the messianic energy is important, but it's always important to remember that when you talk about the Messiah or the anointed Christ, that Christ, like people think like Yahweh name was Jesus Christ, like his last name was Christ. That was a title. You know what I mean? And there were other Christ at that time. He wasn't the only one. Moshe or Musa, or who some of you call Moses, was actually considered to be a Christ as well when you actually study the right books. Musa was also a Christ. John was also, or Ion was also a Christ. There were more Christs in that book than one. So the understanding there is that becoming that Christ is when you polishing that lamp of God, like you read about in the book of Thomas, and that anointing oil is that oil that goes on that optical thalamus gland. That's really what we're talking about biology too, but when that anointing oil of the Christ goes on the optical thalamus gland, then now you're functioning and moving as a Christ. So that's where that savior concept comes from. But people, again, never ask themselves, could it be me? They're always looking outside in that sense. And your Messiah may not. You may have more than one Messiah, excuse me, in your life. But you are charged to be that Christ and receive that anointing. You know, and polish that lamp of God right here. You're required to polish that thing, man. You polish it by receiving the words of God. You know, I can't go up too much higher than that. You know what I mean? Peace, Sherry Spalding. Yeah, I don't think you ever caught me live, Sherry. I mean, you've spoken to me live though, so you know what I mean. You in there? um, it's bliss like your music. Aw, give thanks. Yeah, yeah, music is blissful. But yeah, so that idea, that concept, man, that's, like I said, it's a really good way to put it. And you know, there's the yeah, I know you in Cali. Well, we got other people in Cali now. You ain't the only one. I know where you at. You know what I mean? There's other ones in Cali. They be in 4 a.m., 3 a.m. They on it. You know. But nah, however you get here, whenever, it's all good. You know what I mean? It's cool. But yeah, that's part of the charge, and that's why you have to query yourself. That's why it's so important to query yourself, because um, you start to uncover that Christ, and it's through the word. Like I spoke about that recently. The word is the refiner of the soul experience. That's the polishing, getting that lamp bright. And you could listen to the old you could listen to the old segments if you want. You know what I mean, to get some insight on it. Ramon says, "See, we beasting through this strong." Yeah, man, because we beast. A part of us is beast. You know what I mean? Know thyself. You gotta know you are the beast and you are the Christ. When it says that Christ rode into town on a jackass, on an ass, it's you. You know what I mean? So the sad part is that some of us are too much beast all the time. That's what hems us up a lot of times. We miss the whole point, man, because we never receive our anointing. You know what I mean? We're taking that oil and shining and shining and shining and shining and shining, and then eventually, poof, it's on. It's on now. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that we ever neglect the beast, man, because thank you for the beast. The beast is my vehicle, man. If I didn't have the beast in me, I'd be a vampire. If I didn't have the vampire in me, I'd just be a wolf walking around eating everything. You know what I mean? With a human timeline expiration. You know what I mean? So being that hybrid energy, it's a beautiful thing, but you just got to understand that when energy start to communicate with you and start to alarm you, alert you of the messianic or self savior energy that lives inside of you, they're gonna communicate it in a way that only a hybrid can understand. So numbers. You start seeing, I keep seeing this number, I keep seeing this number, I keep seeing this number. Yeah, that's the only way to kind of really get through to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're asking about it now. So obviously it meant something to you. Obviously it means something. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I can't see all the chats. Because I can only go up but so far. Yeah, yeah. I think I got most. Although I said I had to learn to turn the phone off at night. Yeah, man, because it shoots those frequencies at you, messing up your notes. That's what the phone does, man. You're trying to sing up to a certain note. You're trying to vibrate up to a certain note in your sleep. You're trying to raise the octave, and then you got the phone, and it purposely does that to pull you in. That's why those apps have so many notifications. They ask you, "Can we notify you?" Right? And then once you let them notify you, that's it. They find so many ways to rope you back in. So and so has just looked at your profile. So and so has just clicked like on your picture. So and so has just posted something and they haven't posted in a long time. And you're like, let me take a look. Let me take a look. Let me take a look. And sometimes that happens in the middle of the night. You might have an audible alert notification that's going. And just when you were getting ready to raise that octave, you're here. It's always going to be through sound and stuff like that because, like I told you, Niles, peace, 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 brother. Got to tune into the wisdom. Oh, we was talking about music and everything. You missed it. Niles is up and coming producer. You know, um, yeah, you missed the music talks. But yeah, it's raising that octave. You know what I mean. And a lot of times, these not just electrical devices, but like I said, our own thought will screw up. It'll screw up our harmony of octave. You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn to turn the phone off, man. Really, if you can, get anything that would be disruptive in your room out of your room. Sometimes our headboards are too hard. Sometimes we got no headboard. Sometimes that throws things off too, man, because there's a certain mentating that we do when we lay down. That's why sometimes dreams can be so profound. There's a surveying that we do of the space that we lay down in before we get down. You go to jump in your bed and you got this big hard wooden headboard. You see, so of course, what's going to happen? You're going to have your thoughts are already now going to be guarded and shielded because there's a concept of something hard is right there at my head. You see, you should always have a soft headboard. Or you might have a bed or a room that you're laying down in that's some freaky colors. You know what I'm saying? Your bed that you lay down in should always try to match the color of your flesh. That's the best thing to do. The things that you have from your sheets, especially your sheets, your blankets, your pillows, they should be some kind of flesh cover. If it's not just play around with flesh tones because when you're going into the womb of your rest at night, you're going into a womb. So if your bed is purple, you know what I mean, and your room is orange, like now you're traveling in an unnatural kind of space when you're supposed to be going back into the womb of the mental sphere. So everything inside of that bedroom should be soft. It shouldn't be disruptive electrical signals being shot through you. There's so many different things of that, and it's again, like I said, we live in a society that purposely tries that sleep and that rest time as much as possible. And like I said, sometimes it's a lot of over analyzation. Peace, Shannon. There's a whole lot of not just over analyzation, but there's a whole lot of extra mentating because of anxiety. But sometimes it's the room that's beating up on you while you're sleeping. Your room is punching you all in the ribs, knocking you out. You're sleeping in a bed that got, you're sleeping on polyester sheets. So you're not even breathing. Your body isn't breathing. Then stuff is colored in a way that doesn't resemble you curling up inside of a body. When your bedroom should represent you curling up inside of a body. And I know even within a mental sphere, excuse me, your bedroom is always going to represent your secret space, right? So that's why some of us we go in the bedroom, our bedroom, we got handcuffed with the children. Don't come in my bedroom. There's handcuffs, there's whips, there's lube. There's all kind of stuff that represents what I want to do. Because mama got to have a life too, right? So, but it represents your secret space. That song Luther Vandross used to sing, "My Secret Space." Luther has some secrets, but you know, that's what that space represents. But it has to be a soft secret space, if you will. And sometimes that's working on you. So you're not getting that moment of clear self query because something's poking at. Like I said, sometimes your headboard is wrong. Sometimes you got your bed tucked underneath a window. So you're sleeping and you got all this energy and vibrations coming in from outside into your head while you're sleeping. Yeah, don't sit on my bed. That's how we know you're melanin rich, spirit driven. You ain't even got to put up no. You've had that avatar up there for 10 years now, but we know you because that's something. There's certain things that are very important to melanin rich people that are not as important to other ethnic groups. And sitting on my bed, especially with your street clothes on, that will get you shot. When you talk to melanin rich people, you got street clothes on. They don't sit on my bed. Who's over there? You invite a melanin rich some person somewhere. That's the first thing. Who over there with y'all? That's an important. You don't play with that question. That's an important question. Who over there? That's like as important as who made the potato salad. That's Bella Rich. You know that, boy. Shannon asks, "Peace, Chief. What about peace, Shannon? What about redundant songs sounding in the air? Is there a message?" Oh, you figured out. You figured out. You already asked me this question. You thought I didn't see it, but you thought you were gonna try to sneak it in on the live, huh? All right, that's cute. All right, is there a message to take to heed to? Is it craziness or is it just distraction? Did you ask yourself that? Am I crazy? Am I distracted? Is this the song of my heart? Do I need to write this song out? Do I need to analyze it for its lyrical content? Maybe I just need to keep singing it over and over. Maybe it's a chant that I need to sing. What voice is it coming from? You gotta go back and listen to the beginning of the segment. Just slick self. I see what you did there. Sequoia. That's why my phone be on mute for all the team notifications. Early in the morning, I be needing my rest after days with my children. Yeah, some of us are early risers. So she's talking about the Anu inside of the ministry. Like some of us wake up pretty early and we like greet each other. And I guess they be buzzing off or whatever. My bad. You can mute. Yeah, you can mute the notifications. So Yeah, see, we know you are early riser. So Jamie says, I got a mural painting of Ganesh behind my bed. Might be time to paint. Well, you got to think about whatever you have behind your bed is going to represent what you're striving for in your astral planes. Like, so years ago, I had a mural behind my bed too, believe it or not, and it was actually of Shakti. I had a couple of it. I changed it, but if you ever see there's a particular Hindu scene. It's sometimes a tantra scene where you have Peace Plant OG, where you have that archetype riding the other. She's riding the other one, but it's you see her from the back, and he's sitting like in cross leg position, and she's riding him. So I had that above my bed. That was a good vibe. That was a good vibe. So you got to look at because for me, peace, Nakia. When I am in that room, it depends on your aspirations. I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, you can put Ganesh at your thing because there are also some Ganesh energies that are related to creation. Like you could even put a Yoni image or put a Yoni stone on each side of the a Yoni and a Yangi on each side of your bed. You could always do that too. It just all depends on where you want to go in that space. So for me, in that room, I want to have a more profound tantric experience, and I want to create in that room. So the image that and the colors that I use were based around that. So it depends on what you want to do, or what you see. But that's something for you to query yourself. Ganesh at my bed, nah, I don't want everything opened up. I don't keep opening the way, and then that's too much. That's too much pressure over my head for me. Ganesh is an elephant. I don't want an elephant on top of me while I'm sleeping. Now everyone has their own perception of things, like, but that's how I would perceive it. I'd probably wake up congested with a headache every day if I had a Ganesh over top of my head. That's what sometimes even have like even having like metal headboards is not a good thing too. It's just you want light material over you, but everyone's different. A lot of houses are built or apartments are built where you have a light overhead over you in the middle of your bedroom. um, Sometimes that could be problematic, having an electrical device right on top of you, or having something complex in metal right on top of you as opposed to having floor lamps. You know what I mean? So um, you got to query yourself to a degree and kind of see what works with your energy. But that's a good one to bring up. Is the feed stuck? No, Esme, it's not stuck. I was just stuttering. Logan says, I find that I have really good sleep when I'm sitting upright in a chair. Yeah, it's a spinal thing. I also have vivid dreams that way. I tend to sleep in a chair probably 5 nights out of a strong. I don't really, I don't like, for me, bedrooms are more so for having sex. And not even the bed so much, just the room itself. But it doesn't have to be the bed. I think the bed is one of the most boring places to have sex, actually. But sitting up, sleep. But when you're sitting up, you get a different kind of spine alignment, and it's like when you're sitting up, you're closer to how a child would be in the womb. Melanin-rich childs tend to sit more facing up when they're in the womb as opposed to sideways and things like that. That's why it's really important, you consider how you speak to her, how you deal with the woman who's pregnant, because chances are if she's facing you this way, the child is also facing you that way, and you're cursing them both out. It's also been found through studies that melanin-rich women have more nerve endings that go to the child's top of the head than other groups. So the child actually even feels more of what the mother is going through. So sometimes when you're sitting like that and you're sitting up and you're resting in that way, it's kind of bringing you back to, that womb space reality. You know. Um, let's see. I'm just gonna go through some of these and then I'm gonna shove off. I'm gonna shove off. If she under 50, I ain't eating the potato salad. Okay. I might actually be a good rule of thumb. I don't really eat potato salad, but I see your logic there. Vermont says, yeah, if you under 50, I ain't eating the potato salad. Yeah, I could see why that. Yeah, I could see the relevance in that. You know, yeah. Esme said, can you go back on the piano and hit those chords again? That was a vibe. No, I ain't performing for y'all. um, Cruz says most most of projects and reports are done between 12 to 3 in the morning. My longer spiritual sessions are done same time sequence because you're on that I told you there's a fine line between the beast and the vampire, and there's a certain time at night. Sometimes it's around 4 a.m. depending on where you're at, or it could be around like 3 a.m. That's what some people will be like. I keep waking up at 3:33 a.m. every night, 333, because you're on the cusp of that border between those two worlds. That's why you keep waking up at that time. So, sometimes your creative energy is different because you have a different kind of contrast, between the two. Yeah. Cruz says Ganesh is better by entrances. Could be. It depends, man, because it depends on what an entrance is. You know what I mean? That's what I say you have to query yourself. Typically we say, oh, put Ganesh by the door. Maybe, maybe not. Because Peace Michelle, you have different portals inside of your home. There's different things that constitute an issue. I mean, I'm sorry, an entrance. Some of us know in our yard where our portals are. We walk and we like, okay, stuff. This is a pathway. You might put your Ganesh there. Also, to me, a window is a portal, right? Anything that goes from one place to the other. So I've never just considered crossroads to be portals. Like I think for me, and this again, I should say you got to query yourself. These are thought projections from your own reality when you're dealing with lower order energies. For me, um, the river edge is a crossroad. Because I'm between two worlds: the world of the water, the world of the land. For me, a tree base, is a crossroad because if I go up this tree, then now I'm in the land of, as they say, the land of the gods, or the land of the birds. I'm in the air versus being on the ground. So you gotta know your space, just like you gotta know your mind, and know what works for you inside of each space, and then sometimes see what kind of reaction that you get. And when in doubt, don't put nothing. When in doubt, leave it alone. Because you don't need a Ganesh in your house. You don't need an SU in your house. You don't need these things. They're tools that you can utilize, but what you need is your mind. You need your mind to be right. So if you're working with the Ganesh, you got a mural over your bed and it's working for you, all right. Like I said, for me, that would crush my head. I know. I can feel it now as I'm talking about it. I feel the pressure right here. I can feel it because I'm thinking about it too much. That I would. Oh goodness, the headaches I'd have every day from that. For me, sexual energy in the bedroom just works well, and not because every night, there's gonna be a stag film uh, that's videoed or anything like that, but just because it's just a space for sacred creation, on any level. You know what I mean? So, but everybody perceives things different. You know what I mean? So, there's many ways to approach that. All right, so I'm not gonna tie you up any longer because it's first day, and I know you probably got laundry to do. You probably got some ironing to do. I know you sisters are food prepping for the rest of the strong, so that way you're not eating off of food trucks and spending too much for lunch that you shouldn't, and your children are not eating dinner at 11 o'clock at night because you didn't use the pressure cooker to hook up some rice and stuff like that. You're more than welcome for my time, Dawn Gravely, and Dawn might want to go for a run, whatever. So I know that you want to prepare on this first day for the days ahead. And like I said, If you didn't check the beginning, go back to the beginning. You know what I mean? Because we were winding down after maybe the 1 hour mark, but there was something important um, that was implanted in that space in the very beginning in terms of self-actualizing. And this is all a part of how you're taking command of your day. You know what I mean? All of it is everything. We're at I think we're at 42. This segment makes 42. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, nephew. Yeah, um, this makes 42, and I'll get to that question tomorrow, Alex. You always do it, man. You wait till the last second. I got you, Alex. Matter of fact, no, I probably won't get you. So put it in the comments. Oh, give thanks, Logan. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, put that in the comments when the video, when it's done, and you could. I don't know if you can do it now, but because I might not remember. Because yeah, I might. If it's in a live chat, I might not go back and listen to it before tomorrow at 6. So yeah, man, I'll answer that tomorrow. Um, all right, man. All right, men and women. All right. Enjoy your day, man, and women. And like I said, ask yourself some questions today and start to get to know yourself. Don't worry about me and everybody else around you. You know what I mean? We got a relationship later. First, you got to start a relationship with yourself for anything else to work after that. All right? You're more than welcome. Fase, your fancy self. All right, everyone. Peace.